What's up, everybody? John Eric Poli here with my MMA news, and today's guest will be fighting Heili Alateng at UFC 279 on September 10th. Pleased today to be joined by Chad Anheliger. Chad, thanks for doing this, man. Appreciate the time.
Yeah, man, thanks for having me on. I always love doing these things. It helps keep me focused and motivated on the fight.
So let's get right into things here. I want to start by talking about your career. So you start out 2-5, then you go on now to win 10 fights in a row. Throughout those 10 fights, right, that includes getting into the UFC and your first UFC win. Just what a run you've been on, man. What's kind of clicked for you in this 10 fight winning streak that's really helped you to grow into this point as from a guy that's, man, 2-5 at a rough part in the career to in the UFC knocking people out?
You know, when I switched gyms, so I was at my original gym, and I still have a lot of respect for them. I'm still really happy for everything that they did for me, but I just wasn't getting the results I wanted, and I knew I needed to make a change, and I moved to Champions Creed. Spent 2 years there before I took another fight, just patching up some holes in my game and just kind of getting in the new mindset. And then once I started fighting again from Champions Creed, I've been 10-0 since I went there. So, I mean, nothing's as clear cut as that. I was having a rough start, rough career, switched gyms, and it's been all been all up from there. So.
I know you had mentioned, right, with the gym change and everything. I don't know if I could relate to this or not, but I was just wondering, want to get your thoughts on this topic when you said about changing gyms. So it's funny, like, I competed in track and field, and when I was in high school, I thought I knew a lot, thought I had a lot of good techniques down. Go to college, get with the college coaches, man, they threw just about everything that I learned out the window and really focused on these little fine itty-bitty details that you would never even thought about to really, to help grow and help me to evolve in my sport. Did you kind of see that too? Or maybe you came into the gym when you had a good base and a good foundation, but maybe it was just those little tiny things that the new gym is paying attention to and that they really worked on that to help you go on the run that you've been on?
Yeah, and it's not even so much about doing things wrong or right. It's just a different look. It's important to have somebody with a fresh set of eyes look at you, and different coaches and teams, they just have different perspectives, and sometimes you see things that you were blind to because of biases and other reasons. So it's not even like it's bad and one is good and one is bad or all these type of things. It's just sometimes you need the proper match, and we have a really good alliance, me and my coach and my gym, and we think similarly, and the tools and skills that they're giving me click quicker because we think alike. We just have a really good alliance. So, yeah, it's not always about good and bad and wrong and right, but it's just about fits, and Champions Creed.
Gotcha. I have one more question on this topic before we move into some other things here. When you were 2-5, did you have to deal with a lot of naysayers and all that? Because we know people could be, right? You start off, your record doesn't look all great to people, or people could go like, "Hey, come on, man, what are you doing? Why are you even doing this? You're 2-5. Go do something else with your life." Because people could be freaking brutal on things like that.
Not really. I still had a fair amount of respect from my peers in the industry and from training partners and coaches because I trained really hard and very professionally. And yeah, I wasn't getting the results that I wanted, but I wasn't, I wasn't some flake. I wasn't some bum. I was training hard, and I was very dangerous in those fights. I just made mistakes and lost them. So, when I started my career, I only had one amateur fight. Then I went pro, and I had that 2-5 record pro. All of that, in retrospect, should have happened in my amateur career. So I should have made those mistakes before they really hurt my record and beat my record up that bad. But I've been fighting for a long time, man. I've been doing this for a really long time. Back in the day, we didn't really have a lot of amateur opportunities. So going pro is what made sense at the time. So, it was rough, and I was hard on myself more than anything. But people always, respected me and supported me, and yeah, it wasn't too bad. I knew I was going to get through. I knew it was just a bump in the road. I wasn't too hung up on it. I knew I was going to right the ship eventually.
All right, so now let's move on to the really good stuff here in your career. Let's start with your last outing, your UFC debut. You go out, you get your first win. Just what was that like to just debut with the promotion, go out there and get a big win your first time out in the octagon after kind of going through everything that you went through in your career?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was surreal. It really didn't even hit me till I got home. Like, a couple days later when I was just kind of relaxing and soaking it all in, you kind of realize like, wow, I just really achieved one of the biggest goals that I'd ever had. And it's kind of weird and funny because you have to start thinking of new goals, because that was always the top of my list that I always wanted to do. And I did it. And it's like, wow. And now that I've done it, I need to start adding more goals and keep pushing forward. So it was amazing feeling, but it was a strange feeling. I've never felt something like that, where you just really went for something and got what you wanted. And yeah, it was just really cool. I'm really, really happy about it.
And I know for a lot of fighters, right, that were in the position you were in, right, you're coming into the UFC there. Before you get into the UFC, though, you're bouncing around a lot. There's a lot of different promotions, fight night in this promotion here, fight night here, all random ones. Then you get into the UFC. Now you have a steady home, a steady promotion, a steady base that does a lot for you. Just what has it been like being able to have a steady home such as the UFC now that you're in it?
Oh, absolutely. The UFC makes fighting for them very easy. You get offers, you get dates, they're firm. You have somebody that's always following up with you on your paperwork and your medicals, make sure everything's smooth. They help you as much as you possibly need. They do everything possible in their power to make sure that all you got to do is train hard and show up and fight. So they take away a lot of the nonsense and noise. And promoters locally, you deal with a lot of things that can be frustrating. And as fighters, we're not always totally equipped to deal with that. We don't even know what are the right questions to ask, and sometimes you're not getting a lot of favors done for you. But I feel in the UFC, for one, I'm really happy that USADA is drug testing everybody. I mean, they're knocking on my door, early in the morning. They're coming to my gym, and yeah, those things are kind of annoying at the time. But the feeling of knowing we're all getting tested, and then that the cheaters are not going to be in there, it takes a lot of weight off your shoulder too. So just fighting for the best, fighting for the most professional company, it's just a great feeling. It takes away a lot of the nonsense and the outside distractions. You can just focus on training and fighting.
All right, so speaking of that last fight too, right? That was inside of the Apex. This time, you're still going to be in Vegas, but you're going to T-Mobile Arena, big event there with UFC 279. Obviously, two superstars involved in that main event. Just what's it mean to you to be at this big stage just early on in your career, second fight in, and you're already going to be a part of a pay-per-view event in the UFC?
Yeah, man, I'm going to make the most of it. I'm super excited. I really wanted the full experience, fighting for the UFC, and this is it. Packed house, huge main event, lots of eyes. This is what I've been working for. This is what I want. So I'm going to go out there and really maximize on it, and I really feed off the energy. So it's going to be an awesome night for me.
And are there any extra nerves that go into that? I know there's nerves before any fight, but when you're going to be in a huge arena like the T-Mobile, all the fans and everything, is there any extra pressures or nerves to that?
I mean, I'm sure there will be, but every fight's a fight. So regardless of everything that's happening around it, you just got to get in that cage and take care of business. So I know I can do it. I try not to be distracted on my way out there and try to just deal with the fight. But I'm really looking forward to thriving off the energy while I'm in the cage. There's going to be nerves, there always is, and this feels bigger. It feels like I get a little bit of jitters when I think about making that walk with screaming fans instead of just walking out in silence. But yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait.
Yeah, I got you there. And let's get into the specifics now of UFC 279. You are in training camp right now. Just how's your camp going?
Excellent. Everything's right on point. I've had a lot of fights. This will be my 18th pro fight. So I've prepared a lot of times. I really know how to manage a training camp, manage industries or injuries and illnesses and things like that. I mean, I don't get stressed out. I don't panic. I know what the normal training camp is like. It's got ups and downs, and I know how to peak. And right now, things are really lining up. Weight's on point. Cardio's on point. Peaking is going just like it should. So, yeah, I'm a vet when it comes to training camps, and this is another one that I'm feeling really confident about.
And I saw on your Instagram too, right? For this camp, I saw you doing some yoga. Pretty interesting. I'm pretty sure fighters have done yoga in the past, but I don't ever really recall asking a fighter about it. So I'm going to ask you, since you put it out there that you do it, just what's kind of the thought process behind that as to why you do it? I know that yoga does a lot of good things like flexibility and whatnot, but just wanted to kind of get the benefits from you as to why you choose to do that during your training camp.
I just try to do something nice to my body. I'm hard on it all week, man, and I make it work very, very hard. And I do not give myself much rest times or breaks, and work through injuries and do all these things. And yoga is something that's a little bit of a give back to my body. It feels really good after, and I don't have to go into those sessions thinking about the fight and strategies and all these things. And that's what happens right now. Every time I'm training, I'm thinking about the fight, my opponent, and our coaches are too. I mean, that's obviously part of training camp, but yoga is one of the things where I don't have to think about the fight. I just go in and I try to just unwind a little bit, do something nice for my body. So yeah, it's just kind of a give and take thing. And I've been doing it for the last like 5 or 6 fights. I didn't always do it, and I've really started to add it more and more. I think it's important.
All right, let's talk about your opponent now. Just what have you seen out of him as you've been preparing for him now, and what are you expecting on fight night?
Yeah, he's super tough. This is a massive test. He's got a lot of fights in the UFC. He's got a lot of good wins. He's an explosive athlete, so he's got a lot of athleticism and speed I got to be very aware of. But I think I've got a lot of answers to what he's good at. He's definitely a good wrestler, and he's got a lot of power on the feet, but I've got a lot deeper levels to my game and striking. I feel like I can set traps and I can get him out of there. And my jiu-jitsu has a lot of answers for his wrestling, and I think he's going to find out that wrestling is not a good option. And he's going to run out of options. Once the feet starts to fail him, the wrestling starts to fail him, I'll be able to take him out.
And of course, after you guys do your business on fight night, the fight card will roll on. Of course, the big main event, Nate Diaz, Khamzat Chimaev. I know a lot of fans are really buzzing over this fight as they're both fan favorites. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on the main event that night.
It's just super cool. I love that the UFC gives the fans exciting fights. I mean, that's the reality of what our sport is. And it's just one of those guaranteed exciting fights. It's going to be one of those fights where Diaz really pushes Khamzat into things he's not totally comfortable with. We're going to see some different things. We're going to maybe see a longer fight. We're going to see some durability, some tricky jiu-jitsu. I just feel like Nate actually is one of the guys who actually does have a path to beat him. And it's going to be hard if he can get there or not, but I do see a path in which he can beat him, wearing him out, and his jiu-jitsu is, a lot of people forget about how good that jiu-jitsu is. You don't just take him down and not have to worry about it. So, I don't know. I'm really interested. I don't really want to cheer for one person or the other or think one person win. What I cheer for is just a great fight. I hope both guys have an awesome time. They rock each other. They scramble. The crowd goes nuts. You just want a great event, so that's what I'm hoping for.
All right, so let's move outside of the cage now, talk about a few other things here with you. I want to actually go to hockey because you're in Calgary. I'm going to go ahead and guess that you're a Calgary Flames fan?
Yeah, absolutely. Go Flames.
So let's get the thoughts on the Flames here, right? Hockey season will be here before you know it. Just your thoughts on their upcoming season. I know they lost some guys in free agency. I think they were kind of busy after that too, picking guys up. So just your thoughts on this upcoming season for the Flames.
Well, it wasn't looking so good originally. I mean, we had a little disappointing end of the playoffs, losing to the Oilers. It was a really hyped up series, and it was really fun to have a Battle of Alberta in the playoffs. But it didn't go great, so we were, a little down about that. Then we lost 2 of our best players. So yeah, things were looking a little bleak. But then we had a couple of real big free agent signings, and the GM and the head office, the Flames. That's just why I've been a fan for so long. They're so aggressive. They don't mind trying things. They don't mind failing. They'll go for big moves. They want to keep the fans engaged, and that's what they did. They brought over some of the best players in the league. I mean, we got Kadri signed. We got Huberdeau. It's so fresh, and everybody's excited to see what it's going to look like.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this upcoming hockey season. I'm actually I wasn't the biggest hockey fan. I just started getting into it. I sure you can see the Seattle Kraken stuff that I have over here. My cousin Matty Beniers was drafted #2 overall by the Kraken in their first ever NHL draft. He debuted with them last year. Actually, debuted against Calgary, against the Flames up there in Calgary. So yeah, looking forward to seeing some battles over the years now here with the Kraken and the Flames. But anyway, I wanted to ask you another thing here that I did see on your Instagram. I saw you're quite the fisherman there. Just kind of, how did you get involved with fishing, and just talk about it as a hobby? I'm sure you probably like to go out and fish every chance you get.
Yeah, I tried to, but now I got a fight that's been eating up all my fishing time this summer. I'll have to make up for it in the fall after the fight. But yeah, it's one of those things where, again, I just need to give myself a break. I really push hard. I'm keep myself as busy as possible between training, coaching, working, home life. I'm a very, very busy guy. People talk about burning the candle at both ends, but I got like all four corners burning at all times. So I really like to shift gears when I take a break. And fishing's a good thing for that because I don't bring my phone. It's just total, completely unplugged, total break. So yeah, it's kind of like a work hard, play hard type of thing, and it's a really nice balance.
And I got to ask this too, right? I know since you do like to fish and you are in Canada, it does get very cold up there. Do you ice fish too?
A little bit, a little bit. Even I don't love getting out there and sitting on the ice for an entire day, but I can be convinced to go once or twice.
All right, Chad. Appreciate all the time here today, man. I really like today's conversation. Last thing before you roll out, social media, management, sponsors, anybody got to give a shout out to? Take it away. You get the last word.
Yeah, I always got to give a shout out to my gym, Champions Creed, here in Calgary. We're really coming up with a lot of great fighters. Both me and my teammate Akeem are fighting on this UFC 279. It's the first time my gym's ever had two fighters on a UFC card, and it's just the beginning. We're going to start to see Champions Creed fighters on all kinds of UFC cards.
All right, Chad, appreciate all the time here today, man. Going to let you get running here. Again, thanks so much for doing this interview today. Really appreciate it. Appreciate all you guys watching today's interview. If you liked it, please go to the bottom, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to this YouTube channel, and you guys know the drill at MyMMANews.com. Make sure you guys are checking out the website, checking out all of our great work that comes out every single day of the week. Go to our social media pages, give us a like and a follow on there as well. We'll see you later, everybody.